I do not own the rights to any of the music playing in this episode of Addicted to Astrology. Peace. Gotta pull away from it. It was great while it lasted. Now it's time to evolve. So yeah, our generations are all awesome and unique in different ways. And what the new generation, I think we call them the alpha generation, the Pisces, the Neptune and Pisces generation is going to teach us is that we've learned from all that and it's time to detach. It's time to forgive. It's time to get healthy. It's mentally especially, because I just shook up my mental. Good God. Welcome to Addicted to Astrology. It's really real out here, y'all. Let's get started. Neptune in the generations. So 6 signs ago. 100 years ago, relatively, we began, or we're going to begin, the generations in Virgo. Of course, it was, you know, all the other ones before. But as far as we can remember, and as far as our collective still exists, we do have still Virgo, Neptune and Virgo people on the planet. So, I'll be changing costumes as I move through this. Neptune in Virgo, the 1920s. Neptune moons every 14 years through a sign, so this is up until the mid-30s. Neptune in Virgo was your daily routine energy back in the day. It was about your body and the work you give and what you do with both. So, of service to people, many people were of service to people, catering to people, butlers, maids, even the true meaning back then of lady in the streets and a freak in the bed. This is the years of Josephine Baker, where she was a free spirit. You know, Virgo is the virgin of the zodiac sign, the good wife, so to speak, the one who listens and caters to her man. So the low vibrations of Virgo is giving service to others and not giving service to thyself first. So there's nothing wrong with giving service to others, but you have to take care of yourself first. Knowing that you're good enough, because Virgos do love to judge, you know. A lot of women in this day might have not felt like they're good enough for their husbands, or whatever they do is not good enough, or however they look, it's not good enough. So now, the detachment from this will benefit and give you the trust that you need for yourself. You know, these are the grandmamas right now. And even still, this is the instrumental for Ain't Misbehaving. I remember performing this song in the 80s in my dance group. Ain't misbehaving, I'm saving my love for you. But yeah, this is trusting that your love is enough, granny. This is trusting, great grannies even. This is learning the early baby boomers. I'm not even sure if these are the baby boomers. This is before the baby boomers. Just knowing that the work you do, the service you give is appreciated and always will be. Neptune and Libra, the scale. That's easy. Balancing out relationships and balancing out ourselves. That's easy, right? Not necessarily. Neptune in Libra. 1940s, the early 1940s to the mid 1950s. I chose You Are My Sunshine because it did come out in the middle of this generation. This indeed is the baby boomers. These are the children who separated, their families separated because of war, because the world couldn't really relate to itself. Neptune and Libra is about relationships and partnerships and giving and receiving. But its low energy is about idealizing and looking for a savior, or even possibly mirroring or projecting that kind of energy. Relationships are a huge part of Libra, and it's also a huge part of social growth. So ideally, you must work on healing relationships. If I remember correctly, my history about the 1940s and 50s, or seeing movies from that time, a lot of the women were trying to fit into groups as their families were broken up by war. And trusting themselves in those things was hard. You know, if you couldn't cook, you couldn't join the cooking group. If you didn't have a husband at war, you couldn't join the war wives group. But now we are here to detach from that. Spiritual growth involves practicing trust with self before you can trust others. You know, Neptune is your higher self intuition. It has to deal with energies. It stays in each generation for 14 years, so we can work with our energies. And because we were so young at this time and growing through this time, it's definitely something that we can look back on and see where we need to grow and move on from. What's up next? Neptune and Scorpio. Oh my. You know, if anything got to do with Scorpio. I like my little 60s hairstyle. I tried the best I could. Neptune and Scorpio. Shout out to Martha and the Vandals. Nowhere to run to, baby. There's nowhere to hide. Definitely nowhere to hide from this close up. Ooh. Anyway, Neptune and Scorpio started in the mid-1950s to 1970. This generation was very psychic indeed. This generation, due to being Scorpio, all the things that fall underwater, because Neptune again rules Pisces, a fellow water sign. Scorpio wants to get deep and it wants things to flow, but it wants to get deep and find out really what's going on. So that is all Scorpio. However, the main or the low vibe of Scorpio is the trust factor. So it's cutthroat with Scorpio. So this is like a tough practice to kind of detach from, you know. Scorpios are usually introverted. They like time alone. They like to hide, especially secrets from themselves. And yes, I am definitely confirming that. Even though I'm an open book, still plenty that I don't let know. It's wasn't me type of energy. Y'all know the other song that wasn't in Neptune and Scorpio was more like Neptune and Capricorn. It wasn't me. Yeah, this is the kind of energy, not trusting or dealing with money things, acting like things are not happening, hiding your true feelings. The individual and their energy makes you feel powerless, or another individual can make someone born with Neptune and Scorpio in their chart, which is a whole generation of people, mostly the people that are about 50 to 63 right now. Outside energy affecting these individuals makes them feel powerless sometimes. So this is like being at the bottom of the ocean energy. This is how deep this is. However, Scorpio is also transformative, so change is possible here. Again, Neptune is to practice detachment from the main characteristics of your generation. So Scorpios transform, I'm not going to say easily, but it happens. Scorpios can be the type that die and be reborn. So it is time to rise. You feel me? Oh, and one more thing, the music was short. People in Scorpio and Neptune tend to turn a blind eye, so changing that around, you know, changing, detaching. Neptune plays tricks, the illusional planet. So acting like you don't know what's going on, or acting like, and I'm definitely speaking to this generation because they are my elders, come before me. Stop acting like you don't know. You know a lot more than all the generations after you. So please, for the collective sake, for your own sake, make that transformation. Make it within so you can help those outside of you.
So right as soon as the new decade hit 70, we entered the half man, half beast, the Neptune and Sagittarius generation.
So not only is this my generation, your girl was born in 1977. We're 2 minutes away from 11/11. Neptune and Sagittarius. This is like when we took off our clothes a little bit more. Hair got more wilder, especially in the 80s. Things got a little bit more risque. Sagittarius is, I love the cold. The Scorpio juniors. Yes, so Neptune and Sagittarius is more openness, more expanded energy, the desire for freedom and growth. Shout out to Michael Jackson, who entered the music industry in Neptune and Scorpio, but became a solo artist in Neptune and Sage with Off the Wall. Living off the wall. Oh, sorry. So there's really not too many low vibes with this Sagittarius, except, of course, how we test our spirituality, how we trust our intuition, our morals, and our beliefs. So Sagittarius have to do with all those things, especially travel. This is the crew that loved to travel back in the day. I know my mother was always on trips while I was at home by myself. But yeah, she worked hard too, because Sagittarius believe in higher knowledge, so she got her master's and all that. And life was not bad at all. Definitely wasn't. So the expectations, the judgments, the assumptions are the low energy of Neptune and Sagittarius. So while we're learning to detach, what you expect from yourself and others, the judging yourself and others, the assuming. Assume, as my father taught me, his Neptune and Libra. Remember, I told you my parents are Neptune and Libra. They're a little bit older. Assume means you make an ass out of you before me, A-S-S-U, then M-E. But never, it doesn't get to M-E. Stop assuming. All right. Because I've been arguing on live about my beliefs and your beliefs, and there's really no point. It's more time to shine and expand on life. Take a step further from judgment, from assuming, okay? From that low vibing of Neptune and Sagittarius. Forgive me, y'all. I was interrupted by Neptune and Capricorn. Who doesn't even want to be in the video? All right. So, arguing about people's beliefs and making assumptions about them. You know, Sagittarius is a fire sign. That's why so much energy. But the ego can get in the way. And they have the biggest ego because they're the oldest fire sign. They are the last fire sign of the zodiac. So, what's going on with your ego? Do you need to care about your ego more or others' egos? Like, can you have the biggest ego but still check that ego and go on beyond that ego? Neptune is saying detach from your ego and see where you can go beyond, right? Your sense of self, because it's not only about you. It definitely isn't only about any of us. Detach from the one-track mind, okay? Intuition is key always. Sagittarius used to also be ruled by Neptune. Little do you know. Or Jupiter. Jupiter is to rule Pisces. Yes. Sagittarius, they live like roller coasters. They go up, 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 and then come crashing down. So even your higher self has to be regulated, okay? When you're going up, make sure you stay up. The key is to not have one way. There's not one way to be right. There's not one belief. There's not one way to travel across the country, because Sagittarius like to get around. Stop being so self-absorbed. My daughter texts me happy birthday because it's 11:15. Love those Neptune and Capricorns. They are up next. So a lot of us, Neptune and Sagittarius, have the following children in the next generations. So this is when it gets really interesting. Thank you for tuning in. We're halfway. with us or any of the other generations. This is Generation Z. I failed to mention the other two. I'm from Generation X. Most of Neptune and Capricorn is millennials. This is Generation Z. It's meant to be communicated a different way. Okay, they are meant to communicate a different way. I'm going to continue without the music because I want to explain this look. Okay, it's not as glamorous because these kids really have been toxicated by the other generations, unfortunately, and their detachment is from us so that they can be their futuristic, elevated selves. They get bored quick. They show us what individuality and uniqueness is like, which is all about Aquarius, and how it needs to be focused on before showing the collective. So finding where they fit in later after the uniqueness is discovered is what this generation should be and will be achieving. And it is important to support their process as much as possible so that they can feel wanted and grasp their uniqueness as they move into adulthood. My son is 14. My oldest daughter is almost 20. And if you know, like I know, the 90s was wild, but the early 2000s was even more toxic. Shout out to that generation. We appreciate you all. We love you all. Keep being you. Hey everyone. Well, we've reached home. Neptune is in Pisces, has been in Pisces since 2012. Today is February the 24th because it is 2 minutes to midnight. And you will see this on the 24th. We have 3 to 4 more years of Neptune and Pisces, and then we start all over again because I only went back 100 years. So, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, Kelly Clarkson. So, I have one child left in my household, my youngest daughter, Zane. Hopefully you enjoyed our little introduction. I did the song Don't Wake Me Up by Chris Brown, where she was clearly waking me up into this higher level that we're going to rise to, that we are rising to, okay? Neptune and Pisces is at home, so all things Pisces are intensely effective, good and bad. We have our highest intuitions. We have empathetic people, creative flows, creativity flows, naturally psychic. These are baby geniuses because we're talking about kids that are under 10 years old right now, 10, 11 years old. They need more downtime. They need more alone time, more flow space time, more time to be creative and in their thoughts. Some of the lows of Pisces are escaping. So you might notice this generation escaping from us for a minute. Again, the other generations, okay? Escaping, but coming back to give unconditional love, empathy, to give all the things that we've been missing in the past generations. They have like a thought process. It takes meditation. You know, the higher levels of Pisces is settling down and taking it all in, and then thinking of a way to creatively be reborn again. Scorpios are water signs too, so Pisces, you know, water signs have the same kind of characteristics as well. Cancers, Scorpios, Pisces, very intuitive, very spiritual. But the low vibes of this generation and the future generation to come in the next few years of still being in Neptune and Pisces, they may be lost. They may not want to come back and join this collective. You know, this will be the generation that will undo all the big karma that we have given them. I think we're noticing it a little bit now. And as they have all of the generations in them again, will they forgive us? Are we willing to allow them to fix us? Are we willing to support them? This is a release energy from this generation. All the things that we should learn to release and detach from in our own generations, this generation will help us understand that. Of course, they will love us through all our flaws, all our lower and higher energies. They will release them for us. They will release the judgment. Okay, I want to change the music. These are all songs from 2012. That was Kelly Clarkson. This is Carly Rae Jepsen. I know that my 8-year-old still loves the song, and she was born the year it was made. Called Call Me Maybe. So anyway, this generation is going to learn to release the judgment for the Neptune and Virgo generation, the unhealthy practices, the catering to others before self, release. Neptune and Pisces generation will help us release the unbalanced, unrelatable Neptune and Libra generation. Help us detach and release. This Neptune and Pisces generation will help us release the holding back of secrets and the needing transformation and acting on it and not turning a blind eye anymore. Neptune and Scorpio. The Neptune and Pisces generation will help us release the one-way thinking, the blocking of our growth and expansion. That is the Neptune and Sagittarius. Because I'm ready to expand, baby. No more holding back. This Neptune and Pisces generation will release the need to be responsible for others and help us understand that we are responding to our own abilities and worrying about others after self and doing what we want to do with our lives. YOLO. And that's the Neptune and Capricorn. Neptune and Pisces is helping us release the hatred of what we don't understand and the audacity to diagnose others. Who are we we know our own bodies before anyone else does. And that's the Neptune in Aquarius. And then as these children in elementary school now, and the ones not even born yet grow, they will have bigger themes, of course, bigger things to deal with, I'm sure. And yet, if they choose to show us clarity in our own needs and necessities of life, and higher elevating through our past, just imagine where we can go. Thank you for tuning in to Addicted to Astrology with TMZ. I am always teaching everyone abundantly, empowering many, Zakia, enlightening every day. And you have been taught about the generations of the last 100 years. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And coming back for more. 333. Hope this wasn't too long. I will put the timestamps in. And full moon, 3 days. That Pisces season, opposition with Virgo energy is here to release and set us up for the new. Peace.